Have you ever been in a situation when the truth simply had to be revealed, no matter how difficult it was? That's exactly what happened to me. I recently discovered that my wife was cheating on me with a man who was already engaged to someone else. After dealing with the shock and betrayal, I knew I had to make a decision. Do I keep silent or tell the other woman what was going on? I decided to tell his fiancée the truth. You know that feeling in the pit of your stomach when something just feels off? Like, how can you really tell if your partner's small, innocent actions are just that, innocent, or if they're hiding something bigger and worse? I've been there, and it makes you wonder if trust can ever truly be rebuilt once it's broken. For example, I once knew someone who sent some risky pictures to a guy who probably still drives the same car he had when he was 18. It just made everything more complicated. I need some advice. The other night, I woke up on the couch and noticed my wife had gone to bed with the kids, but she left her phone behind. Normally, I would never go through her phone because we trust each other, or so I thought. But something didn't feel right, so I gave in and checked. What I discovered was difficult to process. She had been messaging an old friend from school, someone she hooked up with about 20 years ago, and the majority of the conversation was him making advances, but she didn't seem to mind. They even exchanged nudes. I knew it was wrong of me to go through her phone, but I just had a feeling I couldn't ignore. Now, I don't know what to do. Part of me wants to leave her phone out with the messages open so she sees it right away, but another part of me thinks I should just talk to her. From what I can tell, they haven't done anything physical. She's told him no because she's married, but it's obvious she's enjoying the attention. I feel hurt and betrayed, and I'm not sure how to handle it. Yes, I'm still upset about the whole situation. I'm not taking it lightly, but we're going. I understand that marriage is about trust, but something felt off, and I acted on that feeling. I don't think anyone vows to never look at their partner's phone, especially if something appears suspicious, and I don't believe in keeping secrets. I'd like to know more about this guy before confronting her, especially if he's married, and I'd like to inform his wife as well. I've been advised to have proof of everything so that she can't deny it later, which I believe is a good idea. I'm also trying to figure out the best time to talk to her, which appears to be when the kids are asleep or at school. Another piece of advice was to get as much information as possible. If this guy was posting things on social media or attending locations where she was, I wanted to know. I believe that having all of the facts up front will help me make the best decision when confronting her. Someone else pointed out something that hit me hard. Sending nudes isn't just a casual thing. She had so many chances to stop before she sent them, getting undressed, posing, picking the right photo, and every step of the way, she chose him over our marriage. That hurts the most. It started with small things, small boundaries being pushed, and then it just spiraled. Every text, every selfie, every fantasy shared was her choosing a guy from 20 years ago over me. I know what I need to do. I'm going to gather all the evidence, confront her, and if this guy is married, I'll let his wife know as well. It's time to close this down hard. If we're going to move forward, I need to know she's fully committed to rebuilding what we had. The first thing you need to do is confront her directly. Name the guy and make it clear that what she's doing is cheating. Tell her that if she doesn't block him right away, you'll consider taking further action. At the same time, you should have proof, printouts of the messages and pictures so she can't deny anything. If possible, you might want to get her a new phone under your plan with a new number. Make sure she understands that she is the one who broke the trust, and it is her responsibility to repair it. Don't berate yourself for looking at her phone. You had a gut feeling, and you discovered something that would make anyone suspicious, and now you're just dealing with the reality of what you discovered. Also, informing the guy's fiancée was the right thing to do. She had a right to know what was going on, and you've done your part. The fact that you're willing to work through this shows how dedicated you are to the relationship, but the big question is she willing to put in the same effort? And even if she is, you need to ask yourself if this is something you can ever truly heal from. It's one thing to want to move past it for the sake of the relationship, the kids, or the history you share, but it's another to wonder if this will always linger in the back of your mind. Would you be able to?
In the second story, my spouse cheated on my son's girlfriend. Even writing about it feels surreal, yet it occurred, and I still can't believe it. My 43-year-old husband and I have been together for 20 years, though we've only been married for 6. 2 months into our marriage, things took a terrible turn when he was arrested for drug use. I had no idea he was using. I thought he had the flu, but it turned out to be drug withdrawal. He was arrested and sent to rehab, but he relapsed several times during outpatient treatment, eventually being forced into an in-house rehab program. During all of this, my 25-year-old son was dating his 26-year-old girlfriend. They had been together for 7 years at the time of the cheating, and they were living at my parents' house, about a mile away, while she was in college. My son was paying for her education because he saw it as an investment in their future together, but I had a gut feeling she wasn't as into him as he was into her. I was just waiting for the day she'd leave him after she got her D. While all of this was going on, my husband and I were going through a rough patch. He wasn't finishing his rehab program, he wasn't working, and I began to suspect he was hiding something from me. My first thought was that he had resumed drug use, so I found myself constantly checking his phone and emails, hoping to catch him in the act. Then, one morning, I received a call from my son, who seemed serious and said, "Mum, we need to talk. Grab your keys and meet me outside the house, but don't wake him." At this point, I assumed my son was ready to tell me that his girlfriend was pregnant, and he was panicked. What happened next would rip my family apart. I got into the car, and my son said, "Where can we go to chat privately?" I suggested we drive to the Locks, a peaceful spot just 5 minutes down the road, to have what I thought would be an important but manageable conversation. Little did I know, the truth I was about to hear would change everything. When my son told me that his girlfriend and my husband were having an affair, I couldn't believe it. We were sitting in the car and he said, "Mum, my girlfriend and my stepdad are having an affair." It was as if my soul had left my body and everything I knew about my life had disintegrated at that moment. My son discovered emails between them in which they joked about leaving us for each other. They talked about meeting up every time my son and I left the house for work, and they even had their nightly activities in my bed. To make matters worse, she had me braid her hair several times as an excuse to come over and see him. I thought she was bonding with me for my son's sake, but she was using it as a cover to see my husband. I kicked him out that day, and within 2 weeks, she had moved out of my parents' house and into an apartment with my husband. We are still legally married, but I have filed for divorce, and we are just waiting for the court date. My 15-year-old daughter is devastated. She never got along with my son's now ex-girlfriend. They hated each other. My soon-to-be ex-husband has pretty much abandoned her, saying she's better off without him, and he's decided to go back to drugs once his court hearings are over. Both of my children have fallen into depression, and I'm still trying to make sense of what's happened to our family. During the pre-trial for our divorce, he agreed to almost everything except paying for one of the credit cards he used daily. He admitted to the affair and even cutting furnace wires at the house, but he refuses to pay the $3,500 credit card bill. I'm standing firm on that, and perhaps they can sell one of the 3 motorcycles they've accumulated to cover it. My son is healing, and he started a new relationship, but after everything that's happened, I'm keeping my distance for now. My daughter, on the other hand, has been completely blocked by her father, who claims in court that it's because he doesn't want to talk to me, but I wasn't contacting him through her accounts anyway. She says she's fine, but I know it hurts her deeply. I remind her every day that I'm here for her no matter what. As for me, I've been through every emotion possible. I wasn't expecting the post I shared online to be removed, but I did read all of the comments before it was taken down. Some of them were cruel, but honestly, no one can beat me up worse than I've already beaten myself up. In a month, I'll be divorced, and people have asked if I'm thinking about getting into another relationship, but I have a lot of healing to do before I can even consider it. In the meantime, my ex-husband is living his best life, with a 26-year-old and meth. She's balancing this new lifestyle while still working for the health department. I'll share another update if anything else happens, but for now, I'm just trying to pick up the pieces and move forward. So, here's the latest. Divorce court is finally done. Yesterday, I got everything I asked for because it was all reasonable, and I thought that once it was over, I'd feel some kind of relief. My support system has been amazing though, and my parents have taken my daughter for the week, so she doesn't have to see me go through this. She's in the anger phase right now, mad at everyone, mad at him for everything, and mad at me because I'm struggling financially. I'm okay with money, but I'm not okay mentally. I feel like I've been stuck on a ride I didn't want to take, and all I could do was watch as everything fell apart. People keep telling me things will get better, but I just feel worse. Someone said I won the case, but honestly, I don't feel like a winner at all. I guess time will tell. I just want to thank everyone who offered me words of encouragement. I'm so glad I could get all of this out of my head and just say what I needed to say at the moment. My ex's life is in shambles now. His best years are behind him, and I got those years. His new girlfriend is going to leave him once she realizes she didn't win a prize, but a burden. He's chosen to ruin his own life, and I've already gotten the best of him. They said I should take my daughter to therapy for her anger, and honestly, I probably need it as well. I responded by explaining that we live in a small town. I see him drive past me every day on my way to work, heading to her house. She shows up at every school function because her little sister used to be my daughter's best friend before all of this. Even when my daughter chooses a random activity, her sister joins, and the ex-girlfriend shows up in my husband's clothes and sits right in front of my daughter to taunt me. It's hard. I'll go to the store, and someone will stop me and tell me they just saw my ex and his girlfriend, and they'll tell me how awful they are. His family thinks she's amazing because she's taking care of him, and I always see them around her place. They never come to our house, but they always go to hers. His father even posts about her on Facebook, but he doesn't congratulate his granddaughter on her accomplishments. Even though he was a terrible person, I still feel as if there's no way to get away from it all. I try not to leave the house on my days off to avoid having to deal with it, but even being at home is difficult. My ex and his girlfriend are trying to stir things up. They keep showing up at my daughter's events, making their relationship as public as possible. People like that thrive on drama and attention, but it's going to come back to haunt them eventually. Right now, they're enjoying the shock value, but they can't keep it up forever. Reality will eventually catch up with them, and they'll have to face the consequences of their actions. My ex may feel like he's winning right now, but being with someone who encourages that kind of toxic behavior isn't a win. It's just delaying the inevitable disaster. On the other hand, I'm focusing on healing and protecting my kids, which is what matters in the long run. People will eventually see them for who they truly are, and I'll come out stronger for staying grounded and handling everything with grace. Both stories highlight the devastating impact of betrayal. In the second narrative, the betrayal is even more intense, a husband sleeping with his stepson's girlfriend. But the wife's fortitude and focus on healing for her children shine through, despite the great anguish and family destruction. All examples demonstrate that, while healing is possible, it is a hard journey, and true rehabilitation requires complete dedication from all parties.
Thank you for taking the time to read these stories. Your support is greatly appreciated. If you found this helpful, please subscribe to receive more stuff like this, where we offer real-life experiences, tips, and insights.